Hello, good evening, and welcome back to JACKOCAR. You join me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box for the Kia series, the second tier of JACKOCAR here on a Tuesday evening. And of course, unlike last week, I'm not alone this time. I'm being joined by a man so small they almost gave him away free to Joe Biden as a gift on his way to Northern Ireland this last week. But also a man who's on his way to being half cut. It's Owen Wyatt. How are you doing?
I don't even know how to respond to that sort of intro. I love the fact you say "of course" like I've been here for most of the season. I've been horrendous for my attendance. I can't quite believe I'm here.
That is true. Well, yeah, both Cup and Kia. It's shameful, really.
Actually, to be fair, I feel I've earned a bit of a reprieve, though, having been here for the previous, 6 seasons of JACKOCAR and Kia for last season. So, I'm due a reprieve. I picked a bad race to come back for, though. Belgium, I have a feeling this to be safety cars galore. And around this track, they last a while. So I'd get yourself at home into a good seating position. You might be here a while.
Yes. I mean, we'll find out because obviously Singapore...
God help us if it rains.
Oh, my word. I mean, Singapore earlier in the season was 5 safety cars and a VSC, I think. And I think we had roughly around about 4 green flag laps for the entire race. There goes Quinn. And we will be loading in. We are expecting, I believe... Oh, no, Wace has gone as well. That'd be a very early reset if the pair of them can't get back in. But...
I'll be leaving if they reset this.
That's it, I'm done. No second chances.
So you can clear off, you useless bunch.
It's just all you bring him in for is the soundbite at the start so that you can claim he was here.
See, Jacko, I showed up. See, okay, you can't sack me, you two. Cheerio.
He's realised that there's people that are vying for his seat. Kieran's been trying to get into commentary. Kaya's been trying to get into commentary. Leroy's been trying.
Kieran got into one commentary, assaulted Jess, outed himself for life.
Well, yeah.
That's why I'm better. I don't do that. I do, actually.
I mean, Kieran's outed himself several times. It's just a long list of just shameful moments from Mr. Spears.
It's because of his experience with that weird fella who did the awards show last season for the league as a whole.
That is, I mean,
that would change anyone, really, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would. Well, and especially in the position he was in during the filming as well.
Exactly. He had a properly good view of all that.
I did have a quite literally a front row seat.
Yeah.
But we are here. Let's get back to the matter at hand. Of course, we are here to continuously abuse 18 people over the next hour and a half or so around Spa-Francorchamps, built in the Ardennes forest, not too far from the German border. It's only I think it's only about 45 minutes, or an hour and 45. It's either 45 or an hour and 45 between here and the Nürburgring. So well worth it if you go to the Belgian Grand Prix to hop over to the Nordschleife and have a run around there. It was actually one the tickets came back out for it quite recently, and the Les Com grandstand were up for sale, and I was literally hovering over the buy button until, unfortunately, my partner, she was like, "We're busy that weekend," and it broke my heart because I'd love to go to this circuit. But it is a 7-kilometre circuit. It is currently the longest in F1. Until the new one in Saudi Arabia is built, which I think is going to be about 3,500 miles long. 4.3 miles, that is. It's the longest, as I said, of the year. Shortest is Monaco. Distance to turn 1 is very short, 265 metres from pole position. It is the longest straight of 2 kilometres all the way up from effectively the exit of Raidillon and Eau Rouge down to Les Com at turn 5. Full throttle, 70% of the lap, which is only 5% less than Monza, which we were at last week. So the guys on the loud pedal quite frequently around here. Quite low ERS demands. Of course, you're saving through the second sector, only really deploying down the DRS straight and then up through Blanchemont in the third sector. And the guys will be hitting a top speed around about 222 miles an hour on their way down the DRS straight from the exit of the hill at Eau Rouge all the way to Les Com. And Owen, you kind of alluded to it, is that we can have safety car interrupted races around here.
Yes, safety car interruptions are quite common. I wasn't here for this season's Cup Series race, but last season's certainly we had one of the worst cases of yellows breed yellows, and it just never ended really. So accidents are quite common here. I mean, you can lose it up the hill as long as you don't go through there in pause. You can lose it through literally pretty much everywhere. I mean, it's such a tricky track, and it's not been updated for the 2022 safety upgrades, of course. So this is as brutal as it will get around Spa. Hopefully for next year's F1 game, the barriers are where they're meant to be, but and the gravel, of course, as well. But yes, for now this is quite a big challenge for the drivers, and just not the easiest one to manage.
No, not at all. 48 gear changes over the lap distance here, which is actually relatively small compared
That's small,
to...
isn't it?
Yeah, you'd think it's if you go to, I think Singapore's upwards of 60 something. So it's 48 over a 50% race, which we're doing tonight. That's 2,112. But yeah, like I said, it's full throttle for 70% of that lap distance. So you're not really down towards, if you're looking at, say, Monaco, Singapore, some of the street tracks, you're looking at your, I think Monaco's up there, I think it's 71, 72 gear changes per lap. So Wace is out at the moment. He'll be the first one to set a lap. Kaya is also out there, and we'll see if Kaya's paid any attention to what everyone's been saying for the last 2 hours or so, trying to give him tips about what to do during the race. We'll find out. In fact,
I know it's borderline cheating, really. The amount of advice he's been given.
he's perhaps taking it on board. I don't like to bring up the telemetry on the bottom, but he hasn't got his battery on as he's going around his outlap, so we're already in the positives.
Good
But
start.
Wace is getting us kicked off here for qualifying, sending it down to the first corner, hairpin-like corner, very messy at the start, but Wace, of course, doesn't have to worry about that and makes his way around La Source. Now down the hill to Eau Rouge. River runs underneath the track there and through Radion at the top of the hill, and now we blast onto the Kemmel Straight. DRS opens right now, gives you an extra snap of speed all the way down to the heavy braking zone. Really at turn 5 and turn 6 to get yourself slowed down enough to pull it into the right, pull it into the left, straighten it back up again to flick back over to the right. You can use a little bit of the exit curb here, but not too much to unsettle the car. Now down into the elongated turn 8 Bruchel, or Rivage Bruchel, depends on how you prefer to say it. Into corner No Name, has been given a name, but we'll still call it No Name, and a little bit of flair. Waste styles it out on the exit of turn 9 there. Through to Pouon, the double left-hander, and it's almost at the levels of Turkey with the elongated corner. I tend to prefer Pouon over the turn 8 at Turkey, but into Lesfan, out of what is the campus corner, into Stavolo. This is where you rejoin the old circuit, which is cobbled. It's still there, actually. If you go to Spa, it just arrives there on the exit of the on the outside of the barriers. All the way up now through Blanchimont at turn 16 and turn 17. This can be quite dicey in the wet, but in the dry, completely flat. Doesn't even use some exit curb. And now down to the final corner. The bus stop chicane goes to the right, goes to the left. It used to go to the left, go to the right. But up to the line now. Waste what he do with his first flying lap. It's going to be a 45.2.
Oops, and Kaya has just put it in the wall. So the advice hasn't... Well, do you know what? No, start at the back of the grid means when everyone crashes in front of him on the start, he can pick up the pieces. Clearly a strategic move there then. But yeah, shame to see him going off so early on. But I believe he hadn't messed about through a Rouge at least this time, so there's the positives for you. But yes, he's out of qualifying, and so I believe Marco Schneider next in some new colours than the last time I saw him. Maybe he's run these before, but the blue and the pink, quite nice.
Yeah, Marco, who just made his way past Kai. Kai's lost it at the exit, or between turn 8 and turn 9, a Rivage and No Name. So, not quite sure what, maybe got on the curb and just bottomed the car out. But, yeah, as you say, Marco on his lap, running a new livery to what we usually see. Tends to run his, or previously has run Mick Schumacher's old karting colours before. We've seen him in various different German liveries. And now up the back end of the circuit. Marco's had an absolutely torrid season, really bad season so far for Marco Schneider. He'll be looking for a slightly better one tonight. And pole here last season was round 4, and it was taken by Kingen. It was a 40.097. Was Marco puts on the power way too early on the exit, the final corner, does a 47.6. So they're looking for low 40s for pole.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of time to make up then. Let's see if Thomas Nevitt's having a horrendous lap. He's going to be a good sort of 10 seconds off what we're expecting there as well. It's not even going to challenge Mick Schumacher's time, is it? Well, it might do, actually. Let's see. It'll be close, but it's going to be nowhere near pole position. So someone's gone a little bit wrong on Thomas Nevitt's lap, and at least doesn't even beat Mick Schumacher. So there we go. Kaden, hopefully we'll see a properly competitive lap from him. You would expect it, really, wouldn't you, based on last season? But still, we shall see as he goes through Kaya's tyre there. Luckily, in the game, it doesn't actually damage you. Even though we are on simulating damage, in theory it should, but that's more a game problem than anything else. Through Pouon he goes, and towards the Fagnes chicane. Misses the apex a little bit on the inside there. It's good to miss the apexes here, actually, because they can drag you in and send you for a spin. I don't think it works that in real life. It's always fun watching the F1 drivers in real life climb all over the curves in their qualifying laps, but on the F1 game, you even try that once and you're going to be off into Narnia, especially through the chicanes, as Kanan comes through Blanchimont. And towards the end of his lap, this is looking a lot quicker than what we just saw from the last three drivers, and hopefully it will be a fastest time. Let's see. Oh, maybe not actually. It'll be close with Wace. In fact, he won't beat him. Won't beat him. So 3/10 off him.
Yeah, so not the greatest lap there from Kingan, who of course started on pole here last season, and the season before that was third. Probably would have been a lot quicker last season.
Harry Collier's gone through the entry of Pouon. I've never seen that happen before. That's a very odd mistake. I hope that doesn't keep happening in the race, because if you're losing it that early into the corner, that would suggest your tyres are at way too high a PSI or something. You've overheated the hell out of them. You gotta be aware of what's happening there, because that could be serious trouble on a race start. For instance, when you've got the whole pack around you, or a safety car restart if you get shuffled to the front.
Yeah, and Robin Border out there as well, who's just taken liberties with the exit of Stavelot. Not quite sure how he got away with that, but went majorly wide, kept the throttle pinned, and he's managed to keep the lap green. So we'll see what he can do. And maybe my notes are completely wrong, because these guys are nowhere near the 40s, but I'm pretty sure I checked it earlier. I did check it earlier, and it said...
That's got to be wrong.
Maybe that was a game issue, because, yeah, it definitely said 40.0, and I thought that was a bit quick for Spa. So, well, either
I'll
that...
look it up for you. I'll see what last season's pole was.
Either that or, yeah, I'm just blind in my old age. But Rageman goes pole currently with 44.957. We've now got Matt Lester out on the circuit as well, and Rico Beckenkamp. And Rico's making his way around the first sector. Matt Lester himself is equally just behind Rico. So these guys battling it out on circuit. Rico hoping for a slightly better result. He's been there or thereabouts, tends to get himself up at the front, but he's been caught out on strategy, as he does equally phase through the carcass tyre at the card left early on in this session. And, well, we've had several races. This is the 7th round of the season so far. First race of the season went to Matt Lester. Second, Yuri Hasselager. Third, Ben Harriott. Fourth, Michelle Goris. Fifth, Danny Quinn. Sixth, Sullivan Lewis. Which means we could be on for our 7th winner in 7 races if we see someone like a Rico win this one tonight. But he's gone purple, according to the game, but we know not to trust that. Up through Stavelot, now up the back end of the circuit. And something I really don't like about this game is that effectively around Spa, you're almost encouraged to run like Monza level wings. It's, I mean, there will be people running like 2-3 wings tonight as Rico goes P3 with a 45.213, a 100th of a second slower than Waste. But yeah, crazy lap times that will be set because these guys are running tin tray rear wings.
Yes, and I've now got confirmation of pole position last season. It was indeed from Kanan. It was a 44.097. Which still means he's a solid 1.5 seconds off what he wanted last season, so he'll be disappointed. But yeah, we know what the pole position to aim for is.
We'll call that a typo then.
Yeah, a serious typo.
I did
As
question it at the
risky
time, but never mind.
as risky heads there through the middle sector. You might be looking just at the general lap record for Spa, maybe. Actually, what? I'll look that up as well. Let's see how close you are with that. Maybe that's what you looked up.
Maybe. I mean, well, I'm not. I'm just bad at my job. We'll find out. But Risky, last week's race winner in Monza, should be winning tonight because he's far too fast for this tier. But do enjoy that livery. Do enjoy the gradient. He's gone for almost metallic look, and that's not going to go quicker, Risky, if you do that. But it's going to go up to P2, and definitely that last corner is what cost you pole there, Mr. Lewis, because kicking the rear end out, and he's lost himself 0.2 of a second. He's currently front row of the grid, but not in the position he wants to be in. A position that someone like both Matt Rosemond and Jack Ricketts would be envious. So what can Jacko do as he comes up to the line? Can he impose himself on the front row of the grid? He can. It is currently, what's that, just under 1/10 of a second slower.
He'll be livid with that one, but still, at least he's higher up on the grid. Although I still think, of course, he can't. Well, he could do Cup Series now racing because obviously we found out in Spa and then in Austria that you can do commentator driver sort of duties. We should try that in the K Series actually. It was fascinating to do that with Jacko, but yeah, he's clearly got the pace for K Series, but I would reckon he can still make that jump at some point. And well, who else is on a lap? We've got Newgarden out there. Now Newgarden, the game says he's going purple. That could mean anything, but it wouldn't be a surprise if he were at the front in what looks like a throwback to a Spiker car, but I'm sure he's got a different reason for it.
I will tell you that because I've been told what this is. This is both Yuri and Newgarden are running the McLaren McLaren IndyCar 500 liveries. So you've got Loser Lossie in Yuri, and I'm not sure who's running this one. If it's going to be, I'm guessing it's Pato Awards one that's going to be running the grey and the black. It's one he tends to run in regular season. But he's gone front row of the grid, 0.04 of a second slower, and just a smidge faster than Jacko. So it's relatively competitive for the front four.
Yeah, we often see this at Spa, where qualifying times, despite how long the track is, are actually the closest you see all season. I seem to recall we had a qualifying session in the Cup Series a few seasons ago where the top 5 were separated by not very much. Like, I think it was Cup Series. I know that Spa tends to get the proper close sessions anyway. So seeing drivers within less than a tenth isn't a massive shock actually. Who else is there on a lap? Quinn's on a lap. We just saw Baza go 9th fastest, 7/10 off, and Quinn, who is stuck with delivery that people thought I might find controversial, heads through that final corner. I do think it's nice. And it's a nice lap time as well. It's gone. P1, 44.6.
Jess out there as well. Good luck there from Danny as he goes currently up into the top of the stands. We know that Yuri's quick around here. And so what can he do? He'll be last out, of course, leading the regular season in points, looking to take another regular season championship. I believe he's got one to his name already as well. But he hasn't been on the podium here and since Season 2, where he finished in what was originally P3 but was upgraded to P2 after myself, having won the race, was giving an awful penalty by Jacko for jumping the safety car restart by, I think it was literally about 6 metres. It was barely anything. I think it was half a grid slot that I'd judged to have jumped the restart, but stole the win off me. But Jess goes P11 on her lap. But yeah, Yuri P2 in Season 2. We've had Season 4 was Leroy, Splinter and Lesty. Season 3 was Jake, Leroy and Kingan. Then Season 2 was myself, Splinter and Yuri. And Season 1, back the first time we came here, was round 11. It was Niels, Esty and Vitinho. 3 drivers that are no longer here in Kia. But Michel Goris out on circuit as well, so he's looking at currently improving what is P2 in the regular season standings, and he's lucky to get away with that one, isn't he? Because that's a usual, a pretty much slap bang invalidation. But hanging on to it, he's gone a little bit wide through Poo on there as he tries to keep the power pinned down, but now through the fan corner. And, Michel's got a couple more corners left to go to beat the 44.690 that Quinn has set just a few minutes ago.
I've noticed the clouds are starting to sort of close in, so that will reduce the track temperature, which should get a little bit more sort of purchase from the tires, assuming this game works in a realistic manner, but it should do. Yeah, fat chance of that, isn't it? But we'll pretend that that's what will happen, and it's an example of how quickly the weather can change around here, because it was a nice sunny day 2 minutes ago as Michelle Goris goes 8th fastest, and we wait then on Yuri, who's in the again one of the McLarens that will be used in the Indy 500. I would have to assume this will be what Rosenqvist runs. It's similar to what he runs anyway.
No, Yuri is a diehard Alexander Rossi like simp.
Rossi's
so,
running this one, really?
Yeah, so I would imagine this
That's
is
a Rosenqvist one, surely. It has to be a Rosenqvist one. Come on, Arrow McLaren, you gotta get your livery straight.
Because they're running the 3 different liveries, aren't they? One for each of the Triple Crown. Because they're doing the Le Mans one with like almost like the navy grey sort of colour. And then they're running the fantastic Monaco GP winner from the 70s, the orange and white, and obviously then the Indy 500, Bruce McLaren, all orange one. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these guys have gone for. But Yuri to the final corner through the bus stop. As you said, the clouds very much have come down. He gets a snap, and this is an easy pole position here. He's going to smash it. And
it's a Cup Series driver.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a Dutchman that's actually Belgian. So this is his home circuit. So well, takes pole position. They're the only driver in the 43s. He takes it in the 43.948, so faster than last season's pole position. So that gets one over on his brother. So not only did Leroy even get pole position last time, he didn't get in the 43. So it is Yuri ahead of Quinn. That's a tasty first row there with a good qualifying session for Rageman, his best of the season in P3. Newgarden will be happy in P4. Jacko will equally be relatively pleased with P5 alongside Risky. Then we've got Wace with his best qualifying since he returned. Rico, Michelle Goris has got a lot of work to do from P9 with Kingen equally out of position. Leslie Bazza, Jess, Mick Schumacher, Thomas down in P15 with Harry Collier having set a slow lap, and then Kaya and Splinter serving a quali ban after his involvement in a pretty horrendous crash last week in Monza.
Yes. While you talk about that, Abby, 2 minutes.
He's going to go and get more alcohol. That's what he's doing.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
So discusses. Apparently, it's really summery and sunny in Salford, upwards near Manchester. I'm looking out the window and it's like Spa. It's grey and overcast, and I'm only about 3.5 hours away from him. Yeah, that's exactly the weather it is outside. If you look to the top left-hand screen there, that's exactly what it looks like. If I look out, except for I can't see the Ardennes forest, I can see one tree, two very small trees here in Oxfordshire. But thanks for everyone for joining us. My name's Gareth Hall. You're joining myself and Owen White in the commentary box. This is the Kia Series, of course, part of JACKOCAR. Go to @JACKOCAR on Twitter to find out more about the league. In itself, of course, you can find out more about the Kia Series by going to @JACKOCAR2. That is the number 2 on Twitter, where you can find all the standings and everything you need to know about the Kia Series. Of course, we have got the playoffs starting on Thursday for the Cup Series. Really looking forward to it. Had a fantastic end to the season of the regular season in Austria last week, where of course Yuri, losing the race win on the final lap of the race, got overtaken by Jake with just a few corners left to go. So Yuri took P2, and it actually had a slight twist in it, in the fact that we saw Jamie Wright crashing out, which gifted myself P3 in the regular season championship. So clearly hot on the heels of Mr. Iceman himself, and Ben's got some work to do, because if he thinks he's going to be the second fastest driver in speed, he's got another thing coming, because Yuri showed him up, and I'm right there with him. But formation lap, we're about to kick it off for this 22 lap run around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and it's going to be Yuri from Quinn, from Rageman, Newgarden and Jacko, your top 5, with Risky, Wace, Rico, Michelle Goris and Kingen 5 through 10, Leslie Bazza, Jess, Marco Schneider, Thomas Nevitt, Harry Collier, Kyle Langston and Jamie Bromley starting from the back of the pack. On soft tyres only, one driver has gone for the hard tyres. Jacko and Yuri are on their Joker tonight. So 2-stop mandatory for everyone bar Yuri on pole position and Jacko in P5. However, Jacko has gone for the risky, very, very risky run of starting on hard tyres. So he's going to need to tiptoe his way around this first lap and not pick up any front wing damage, because if not, that's effectively ruined your entire strategy. Yuri's gone a little bit more conservative. He's starting on the mediums.
I wonder if there's rain forecast then, because I don't see any other reason why you'd ever want to use the hard compound tyres around here. Even on a one-stop, there's no reason to do it. Is he going to run, 20 laps into the race or something? It'll be a late shower, and then he'll change to intermediates and win the race. Something like that. I just wonder if there's going to be weather, because we know around here the weather will change very quickly. It's obviously clouded over for the start of this race. Maybe it'll brighten up, but we've seen it. It'll literally take a lap for the track to go from dry to needing inters because it's so long. So I wonder if that's Jacko's strategy, because I've never seen anyone put hard tyres on here without there being a rain threat. But at the same time, Yuri's mediums could also make it to that, because they tend to last long around here. If there's safety cars, you'll have no problem getting there.
Risky. That was embarrassing. That was.
I didn't say it.
That was a flat spin on the exit of turn 14 there. It's barely even a corner. Jacko's gone wide as well. These guys are driving around as if it's wet already. And, Risky taking the...
barely even a corner.
Risky taking the use of don't do any donuts on the formation lap by just effectively throwing one in there and pretending like he was always taking to the cross now to make his way past everyone.
That's smart as well. He'll stay at racing speed for this. That'll keep the temperature in.
Well, what he should have done was just wait, and then he could have just joined the pack as the lights were going 5-0, and he could have just bolted straight through. Who needs to line up when you're Sullivan Lewis, race winner? But here we go into the grid slots as Yuri gets disqualified. Come on, you've got no one else in front of you to put you off, Yuri.
Oh,
Jacko as well, the two jokers, and Thomas Nevitt and Matt Lester. How's it?
What's going on here?
Why is it taking so long? Look how many. Anyway, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. And here we go. It is the Belgian Grand Prix here in the JACKOCAR Kia Series, and there's a good getaway from Danny Quinn, who's looking to go around the outside of Yuri going into turn 1. He's going to take it outside, but surely Yuri just feeds him to the outside line and makes sure he can't get past. It's been a really good start from Jacko on those hard tyres. He's already challenging Quinn for P2, so he's cleared both Newgarden and Rageman. Right, here's the chaos. Who's going to lose it first? Jacko almost goes. He's gone off onto the runoff area behind it. Looks as though... Oh my word, you've had a miracle. Everyone has made it up through Radion for the first time. All clear as Robin Border almost collects, and that's Risky, almost collects the rear end of Newgarden. So Risky, after his excursion on the formation lap, has made his way up into P6, and he's trying to clear Rageman now, but clipped the rear end of his teammate in speed, Newgarden, but he does get P5, so it's a good start for Risky. He's on the soft tyres. He's now the lead soft tyre runner, and he's already up past Newgarden, who ran wide on the exit No Name.
So that looked to me like it was a sluggish sort of get off the line from Rageman. That's what allowed Jacko to get through. And then, obviously, Risky now, the highest runner on those soft, will have to make the moves happen. Now, the issue is all these top 4 are sort of Cup Series level, so I can't even turn around and say that, well, he'll find this easier because these are, lower tier drivers to what he would be going for. So this will be a bit difficult for him, but he should be able to make this work.
Oh, we've got one gone.
And there's a car off.
It's the King, and it's gone.
That could be a safety car. The whole front wind's gone there, and it's a virtual safety car. And at that point, that you spin off again and wait for a while for the full print. But he's not done that, thank goodness. Will anyone pit? Obviously, if anyone's got damage, we'll find that out now. But obviously, the mandatory pit stop window opens on lap 3. And yeah, Baza, I think, has just realised that, because he's actually got on the brakes and hit into reverse there to avoid entering the pit lane. So it's a good thing he remembered in time, because that could have been a really embarrassing way to ruin your race. As Kanan gets himself into the pits. He's meant to be in there. He's not got a front wing.
Yeah, I mean, Kaya played Russian roulette with the game's contact physics there, because he just ran straight over the debris that had been left by... he had the entire circuit and about 4 miles of runoff on his left, but he decided, no, I'm going to run straight over the front wing and just play the game of will I get a puncture or not, and he got away with it. So, yeah, that's your one of your 9 lives gone, Kaya. We're back green, and Yuri's got a good getaway. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Quinn. Jacko is 0.8 of a second behind. Risky now all over the back of Jacko, and you've got to think that this move is going to be pretty much nailed on to happen within this lap, because Risky's going to have so much more grip compared to Jacko at this point in the race. And, well, the hard tyres, as you said, are not preferential tyre to be on at all. And look, you can even see through Pawn just how much speed that Risky can take compared to Jacko, as Kingan has binned it on the exit of his stop at, well, it's the midpoint there of Eau Rouge and Radion. He's got going again, but that's not what he needed. The man that started on pole last season and has finished on the podium here previously, but Risky all over the back of Jacko, and in fact he's almost bump drafting him up the hill now through Blanchemont. Oh, Risky, not where you want to be. Skating over the curb there.
That'll be a heart attack that he's just had, surely, and he's going to go way off the road at Blanchemont as well. That's deserved. Can't complain about that one, my friend. And, well, Jacko holding on unexpectedly, and I think he'll say that as well, as he absolutely blows up that final chicane and stays in the top 3. And Risky, that's a masterclass in how not to make something easy.
I mean, is he driving with a forklift wheel or something? He's driving with one hand, because the car is all over the place at the moment. He's skating across curbs. He's moving into braking zones. He's finally got past Jacko. That's happened about 6 corners too late. Jacko's had to lift in the mid corner.
He'll pass him back. What's this? He's made it difficult for himself again. Jacko, of course, Jacko's going to pass him. Why won't he? There's no reason not to. And Risky, let us say, you've got one job here, make this easy for yourself, and you're really not doing that. As he just ignores the chicane, and Jacko gets back through, no. He's going to collide there with Rageman, the 2 highest soft runners out there. Of course, Rageman's going to be watching this, thinking I need to get past Risky right now, because he's actually slowing Rageman down quite a lot. Because Jacko, he'll get done now, Jacko, surely, but Rageman has to go and do both of them.
Well, that was excellent, and Rageman will not want to do either of them, because at the moment they're doing themselves about. I mean, both of them seemingly are driving around as if there's no one else on circuit. As Jacko goes wide, these tyres are going to be really hurting him. And look how much that Robin is closing up, and is allowing Newgarden on the mediums to get with him. Oh, as we've got a yellow through Pooh on it, looks as though that's Thomas Nevitt that's gone around. And
that's some wild reversing going on there.
Oh my word, jeez! As Rageman gets on the curve like Risky did in the last lap, and a huge snap that he managed to save.
Did you not see what Risky did there? I can't believe anyone's even touching that curve.
Both of them did exactly the same, of just getting the car straddled across the curb and just skating along it. Right, in we go, into the box, end of lap 3, and into the box comes Risky and comes Michel Goris. So they are getting rid of the soft rubber. Maybe the mediums will work for you better, Risky. As Yuri's still leading, of course he's on his Joker, so he's not going to stop anytime soon. We've still got Thomas Nevitt, who is at the back, having gone for another spin around Fan Corner, and crawling his way around. You're going to need to speed up a little bit, Thomas, or you will bring out a safety car or a VSC.
Jacko there really put some grass up in the air there just to put Rageman off. Although I don't think Rageman's going to have a chance here. I'd be surprised if he throws this one up the inside, and indeed he doesn't. So Jacko, he's only lost 2.6 seconds, which isn't actually that bad. Looking at Quinn now, Thomas Nevitt is stopped.
Got a front right
He's got
puncture.
A double puncture, front right and rear right. So the problem is, this will not bring a safety car out.
Yes, it will.
Thank God for that, because I was going to say, if they came over there at full racing speed, he would not have ghosted and they would have hit him. But he is sort of stuck there until they disqualify him, and indeed they have now. And he'll still be stuck there because the game's disqualifying him, like there's anything he can do about this. And that's bizarre.
I don't know how he's picked that up.
Over to pick 2 punctures. It's not his own debris. He's got a full front wing, so that's bizarre stuff.
Right.
And
so
these guys will all come through. How many will panic? Oh, he's disappeared.
Yeah,
why'd you do that?
Yuri would have been feeding that information through to the rest of the speed chat that there was a car in the middle of the track. I mean, unfortunately, Thomas now joins the club of myself and Jamie Wright of people that have retired with double punctures on the same side that just makes your car sink into the ground and completely undrivable, which isn't how it works whatsoever. You can still run on the rims even if it does damage them and you retire at the end of it. Your car doesn't literally sit at a 45-degree angle. But safety car
does, Gareth.
yeah, how dare I question the logic of Codemasters coding? Yeah.
Oh, gee, they know what they're doing. They've made, what, 13, 14 of these games by now? They must know how a car works.
I think you're being bold to assume that they've made 13 or 14. They've made about 3 and then just added a different number on it.
Skin update, that's it. Release it.
Well,
70 quid.
We all know exactly
Podium
what.
pass? Yay!
You want a podium pass? You know that thing that was free in the podium pass at the start of season 1? You're going to be able to pay for it at the end of season 4. But well, here we go. Under the safety car, and it's going to be Yuri from Quinn from Jacko. So the guys that are on the Jokers aren't going to be too unhappy with this. It is early enough that it's not going to affect too many of the guys around them, because only really Risky and Michelle Goris got their stops in, and Wace has made his as well. Splinter and Jess made theirs. So you'd say it's earlier enough that the safety car coming out hasn't hindered the guys that are on their Joker strategies, because of course later on in the stint that's when you don't want a safety car to come out, when you've got the gap, of course, and someone at the back, Kaya, brings out a safety car and loses you a race.
I think you'll find that it's actually Kanan at the back today. Kaya's having a good run at this.
That is true. He's only 15 seconds off the back of Jess.
Yeah, he's made a pit stop actually in the safety car phase. Of course, this safety car pitting rule hasn't been brought in, has it, for Kaya? So that is invalid, but it will give Kaya the grip advantage on a restart. And Jess, I assume hers was actually legal. And if it was, then that's good for her, because she's 8 seconds off the pace. I wondered if that's why she's 8 seconds off, but it doesn't really matter, does it? She's there now. I'm
going to JACKOCAR as we speak, just to try and work it out. Yeah, because
where she's come from, because it's so early in the race. She must have made it under greens, but she's also got Michelle Goris and Splinter. Are they greens as well? I'd assume so. And Risky's is, yeah, no, they'll all be then greens. Yeah, sorry, they'll all be green pit stops. So, because Risky's is, and Risky would then have Michelle Goris, who will be liking this because he knows that Risky's got a penalty. I think it's going to rain at some point, which means that these guys will only really have to worry about their second stops, which will be for inters, possibly, because I just don't see why Jack was out there on the hards, or even why Yuri's out there on mediums. He's going long for a safety car, or for, I suppose, for softs, but Jacko's sure it's for rain. He's commentated enough of these races. He's been in enough of these races, as has Yuri, both of them. So surely it's going to rain. It's Spa. Do you know what I mean? So that means Risky and maybe Michelle Goris could be filtered right at the front if that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a weird position now, almost like a holding pattern where, off the restart, if it is going to rain, then Quinn, Yuri, and Jacko would be relatively happy. They can just hold where they are. But Jacko almost needs to go on the offensive a little bit now, because although the guys behind him have on what you've got. Robin Border on 5 lap old softs. Equally, Rico as king and gets 3 seconds for jumping a corner under the safety car. So that's interesting.
He's done that. Where has he done that? Has he done that on the exit?
It must have been the exit of Radion, or maybe going through Radion.
That's. I mean, they're always lazy penalties under safety car, but. They always go off at the weirdest place. It's generally, it must be like when you're under safety car, you don't really care. You're not going at full pelt.
I'd understand that more if it was you're trying to catch up to the safety car rather than being in the active, like the snail trail, and you're crawling your way around the circuit. But never mind. That's a shame for Kingan, whose day is going from bad to worse. But yeah, Jacko kind of needs to go offensive, because you've got to think that the guys behind on the soft tyres will be coming in as soon as they can, which will leave Newgarden out there. But what it does do is then promotes the likes of Risky, Waste, Michelle Goris up right behind Jacko, who will still be on what is not really ideal tyres. So Jacko needs to go very much on the offensive and at least get Quinn on the restart. But of course, Quinn's got the medium tyres, so it's not going to be particularly easy. But safety car's still out. The cars all back together, and safety car is now coming in. So it will disappear up the road, and Yuri will become the de facto leader of the pack, and he can go any time after the DRS line. So he'll weave, get some tyre temperature in, make sure he's set himself up nice and ready. Don't spin it, don't touch the AstroTurf or the green stuff on either side. Just keep it on the black stuff within the 2 white lines. And
how hard can it be?
Yeah, you'd think. But Danny Quinn behind. We know that Danny can get a little bit hot-headed on safety car restarts. We saw, of course, he had an accident here with Kingan on the start last season. But Yuri now, he's taking a very wide berth into the final corner to straighten this car up. Right, any time from as they cross this line now. So any time from now, he's waiting, and off he goes. So it's a good restart there from Yuri. Quinn. And yeah, as you say, Jacko's got the inside line. Does he have the grip on the tyres? This is where you've got Robin absolutely thundering into the side pod there of Quinn, and that must be side pod damage for Quinn, because that was a heavy thump. But Jacko getting the jump
when he goes up the hill.
Yeah, that is true. It's Quinn now up through and drifting out a little bit. That could just be tyre temperature. But does everyone make it up through after the safety car restart? It looks as though we've got everyone up and underway as Harry Collier gets passed by Michelle Goris down for P11 and P12. But Jacko now on the back of Yuri, so a good restart from Jacko.
Yep, Joker 1, Joker 2. And assuming, they keep like this, then they should realistically be finishing 1 and 2. So, yeah, they're doing everything right here. Obviously, Jacko and Yuri know each other very, very well. They should really be able to work together on this one to make the result happen. Apologies. And I bet you, if Jacko's got a chance to win the thing, then Yuri can obviously be in a position to let that happen, which will be good in terms of players and stuff like that. Because, again, no offense to Jacko, but I don't think he could realistically through. Oh, he could actually, couldn't he? He did last season. So, do you want Jacko in the playoffs and all the rest of it?
Yeah, this is one of his good tracks, isn't it, Spa? Is one he always enjoys being at. As Marco Schneider's gone around, I was literally just about to comment on the fact that Marco is being absolutely swarmed on this restart lap by the guys that had pitted a few laps ago. But second safety car.
Yeah, safety cars being safety cars. Like I say, without this Kia rule, about the Cup Series rule being put to Kia, it does mean that your pit strategy is being pushed right back. I mean, these guys in Sauce would have been, I assume, trying to pit on this lap, but now they have to keep going. And again, I'm back in 2 seconds.
But what it does mean is, because we're just going to double check in with Kingan at the back. No, it was Marco's car that had disappeared there, but Kingan's missing part of an end plate. We'll see if anyone else has got any damage through the field. Jess looks as though she's all fine. Jamie Bromley having a quiet one tonight, making his way up from the back of the field. Harry Collier equally, and looks as though both himself and Wace all good. Bazza's looking all good. Michelle Goris, he made a very nice move around the inside of Marco Schneider into Pouon as Marco was falling his way back through the pack. Now we look up through the field, and then we go up to the big hitters that are already made one of their 2 stops this evening. So Risky's looking all good. Rico is now the back end of this tail, and Rageman. Now Rageman, he's got away with. Looks as though he's got away with no wing damage from that from collecting Danny Quinn at the restart. So lucky man there to hold on to that front wing. Newgarden up in P5. Matt Lester is having a solid run in P4, but of course, as Owen said just a second ago, the guys on the soft tyres will be pretty grumpy right now, because they would have, I imagine, been coming into pit on what would have been this lap. And well, the soft tyres, they do last around here, but when they do hit a cliff, they will make your car incredibly unstable, especially through the likes of Eau Rouge, Radeon, Pouon, Blanchimont. So the longer these guys are staying out there, because they're going to have to do perhaps, I mean, we've not. This is the first lap under the safety car, so even though the cars are all bunched up, it'd be interesting to see if. I believe the game makes you do at least one lap under a safety car. I'm sure I'll be proved otherwise, but yeah, they've done.
Knowing the Cup Series last season, they do make you wait. I mean, you must remember. I think you were in that race, weren't you? When literally it was just it never ended, did it? With the safety cars, because they. It's a bit like how it almost works with F2. If you ever try F2 on this game, where since you're going at such a slow lap, the safety car really should not be lasting this long, but it ends up lasting 5 minutes at least each time. When in most tracks that'll be 2 or 3 laps. Here it really should be coming in by the end of this first lap, but it just never seems to do that.
See, we had in VSL, which is a great league. You should all join it if you're watching. Run by Mr. Sullivan Lewis himself, Risky, and but
God's not the old owner.
So, but we had a safety car come out, and it gave us a 1 lap sprint, which I've not had before in this game. I've had it gives you 2 laps, but not literally came in with 1 lap left to go. So we started the final lap under green. Which was very interesting.
Weird. How did that happen? Because
crazy, wasn't it?
We've had races here where, like a Silverstone's Short, for instance, a JACKOCAR, where we've had the safety car come in and 1 or 2 cars are packed up on it because it's 2 laps to go and it has to come in. So that is weird. Although saying that, of course, in the Cup Series last season, Championship 5, we got a 1 lap shootout there as well.
We did.
So yeah, maybe it's a 2022 F1 thing.
So am I interrupting you from the festival that you're currently at?
I'm trying to listen to. That'll be Charlie's music. If anyone here watches the F1 Twitter Racing League streams, you will know who Charlie is, because not the Charlie that we raced against, but Charlie, my flatmate, whose music is always quite loud. It got to a point where last race we did, I wasn't aware of this happening, but people were starting to put messages in the chat saying, "Who's listening to insert song here?" And that became the game. So if anyone knows what Charlie's listening to right now, please do let us know in the chat, and that'll get our engagement up and all the rest of it.
That is true, and we'll start singing as well.
Let's not do that.
We can take requests.
Mind you, we've got enough safety cars at this point.
Oh, we've got plenty of time, don't worry. It's lap 9 of 22, we're under our...
Can you really hear that? That's actually quite bad again.
Well, it just shows that you've got a good microphone.
That's a good point. Blue Yetis, if anyone wants to know what it is. Very nice. It's
So-
why I can't retire soon. It's a big investment in this microphone.
That's the worrying thing about mine, is it's even more expensive than that. And I was just, I'm kind of stuck doing Kia for the next
tell.
6 or 7 years. Be watching.
money's worth.
I'm still gonna be doing Kia when Kaya wins a championship.
God. If you've already had grey hairs now, where'd you find that out?
Yeah, that's true. Right, safety car in. So we're going to start lap 10, and hopefully we'll have a couple of green flag laps. But as you say, the safety cars do tend to breed safety cars. But Yuri, once again, will be leading the restart. However, this time, he's got Jacko for company rather than Quinn. So can Quinn get one back on Jacko at the restart? But he will have a slight advantage of the tyre grip. But of course, we will be getting to the crossover period where the mediums and the hards will have around about the same sort of grip levels. Now up to the line. Who's going to go? Will it be slightly later? It is a little bit later for Yuri, but Jacko gets a good restart. And equally so does Quinn. It's behind. It's Lesty and Newgarden that are swapping positions over 4th and 5th as Newgarden's going to go to the outside. He's not quite going to get the cut back on Lesty. In fact, Lesty's had a good run there on Quinn as we've got a car around, and Rageman, after such a good qualifying session, is
Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko is attacking there.
Here. He'll have the run. He'll have the toe. And as much as these two like each other, I don't think that's ideal. I actually don't think Jacko should be making this move, because he's not got the tyres surely to hold on, and that'll slow these two down on their Joker. Unfortunately, that's not stopping him from trying, and you can already see how that costs him time.
Yuri was moving across the track there like he was on a scale-electric track. It was just so aggressive. I've never seen it like that.
Yeah,
he was really trying to break that toe.
You can see where I'm coming from, though. It makes no sense for him to lead it. The two Jokers fight at the end. Right now, the two Jokers drivers' jobs are to pull away. and protect the 1-2 until they both need to pit. Then you can fight for it, because then you're doing it. But at this stage, this rarely happens in any sort of JACKOCAR race where you've got Joker 1, Joker 2. I can't recall a single time, actually, thinking about it, where we've been in this sort of position where they can
we've got
actually
a car
control
around.
the
It's
pack.
Rico Birkenkamp, and he's stopped right in front of Wace. Oh, so it's Wace that's gone around,
goodness.
and no, it is Rico's gone around. Oh, that's a big hit, and Rageman on his recovery has gone straight into the back of him, and unfortunately, that might bring out another safety car. We're under virtual safety car right now, but that might be upgraded. There will be debris on the circuit.
And if you're on the soft compound tires right now, you are on your knees, unless you're a raceman, of course, who's already out of it. Lesty, straight in the pit. In fact, they're all straight in the pits. Interesting.
Well, you
Maybe
can
they have put the rule in.
You can you can pit under the virtual safety car.
Even under. Oh well, I suppose yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking it's gone full safety car. Ignore my ramblings.
No, we're still technically in racing conditions, so it is a VSC, so these guys can pit. So Joker stops made for Yuri and for Jacko. So Jacko starting the hard tyres hasn't really made any difference there. He could have started on the mediums.
But Yuri's stuck on the Mido to the end. He will not have wanted that, but the VSC's given him that chance. And he's pulled away very nicely from Jacko, who did not react quickly at all to that restart. But Yuri now is something to want at a disadvantage on these tyres. However, if he can get past Kaya, which is easier said than done, oh, he's done it, then it will make his life a little bit easier, because he has a car gap in between himself and Jacko, as Michel Goris decides he fancies leading this race. And of course, he has to make one more stop. That VSC stop for the rest of the field will have hurt these guys who haven't made their second ones. You know, not massively, but it'll give a bit of a variety to the race order, because you would have thought they'll be chased down. Why are they staying out then? I guess they're going to go for softs and just try and just flat out just use their pace, 4 laps, go, bang, win it.
God, as Jacko clears Kaya. I did say to Kaya that he needs to fight it, but he kind of got out of the throttle halfway through Puon, and I'm pretty sure Jacko didn't quite know where to go. But you can see how much time he's lost up there. But he's 1.7 seconds behind Yuri now. There's a couple of tenths coming into the corner, coming into the pit stops, as we've got Kingan, I believe, that's gone around at Puon. Is that going to bring out another VSC? It looks as though he's got restarted and re-going, so should be going back to green, and we are. So DRS is finally enabled on lap 12. Have
I seen things, Gareth? I can't believe it.
We might get an overtake or two. As Matt Lester on the back of Quinn now, the pair of them decided to go for soft tyres on their stops, so they're going to close up to the back of Jacko. So Jacko might actually lose a few more positions after the pit stops, because he's going to have 2 people behind him that are going to be on much more preferential tyres. Matt Lester is going to have a really nice run on Quinn here. You do find that the dirty air can be quite unnerving around Radion, but looks as though both of them lifted out the throttle a little bit. DRS opens for both Quinn and for Matt Lester as a change for position up at the front of the field. It's Michel Goris and Risky that are trying to battle their way over P1 and P2. They're now just S-housing their laps led in this one. Of course, Risky, last week's race winner here in Monza, but he does have a 3-second time penalty, as does Danny Quinn and Kingan, as you can see Michel really throwing it into Puon there, and there was a lot of lateral movement in the car, but he's now down 0.8 of a second behind. But back up between Lesty and Quinn, it's 0.2 of a second the gap between the pair of them, as Lesty has to get out of the throttle on the entry to Puon. That's going to cost him a little bit of time there. You kind of want to keep your throttle pinned as much as possible, as Kaya now down in 13th position, as we've got another yellow flag.
I just want to say here, obviously Jacko has quickly closed up to the back of Yuri here. VSC out, which means he should stay in DRS range here. And it means that Yuri, crucially, can't actually do anything on the back of Jess on the run towards the Blanchimont section. But Jacko pulls away from Quinn and closed up on Yuri. He has some real pace here, which is really just the last thing you'd want to hear. Now, I'm guessing Jess will pit now as well, which means Yuri he gets no DRS whatsoever. She wouldn't have done that if there was no VSC, nor would the rest of the top 3. It would have lost too much time. It sadly means we're losing all the pit strategy to VSCs here, but it means that the fight at the front will be between Yuri and Jacko again, unless he will have to make one more stop. Kind of surprised he hasn't done that, but he'll stay out. He doesn't even beat Risky out. I mean, that felt like the wrong decision there.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out now because that's a number of drivers that are done for strategy now. They can run to the end. So we've got our jokers back leading this one. Risky, of course, pitted, and Matt Lester pulls up alongside him. We're under VSC, so he wants to be as close as possible. Risky is gone a little bit deep into Les Combes there, as I imagine they're all trying to sit right on the delta, waiting for it to go green again. There's a little. Matt Lester runs straight into the back of Risky as he tries to jump the delta. So just got a little bit trigger happy on the throttle. I think he might have got away without any wing damage there, but very, very close indeed. But it is a good restart for Jacko, who's close back in within a second of Yuri as Matt Lester goes wide of Pouon.
Maybe there is damage.
You can see there was a little bit of understeer there as he went through the entry, and he's definitely understeering, isn't he? As you can see the car just not wanting to pull into the corners under heavy load.
He's missing all the apexes here. Apart from the chicane where you're bound to hit one of them, but maybe it's tire temperature, but that's even more problems for the guy who I think should have really been pitted under that VSC anyway. But yeah, no penalty at least for hitting the back of Risky. If it were a full safety car, maybe he would have got one. But as we head to that bus stop chicane, Jacko is within DRS range. Both him and Yuri have good ERS levels. That's because of the virtual safety cars and safety cars. You haven't really had much time to use that ERS so far in this race. And so Jacko, who hasn't won since the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix last season, has got a chance here to pass his good friend Yuri, who again, I suppose, seeing another driver get a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Does Yuri really need to win this race? No. It's Jacko, yes. So I have a feeling this might end up being not easy for Jacko, but you would expect him to win it from here, especially on these tyres as well. And
Jacko's win is in as big a quotations as my win in Monza.
Exactly, he needs a real one.
Yes. And he has said that he wanted to win a race and win it properly, because he did say he'd like to win one properly. I said to Jacko privately a couple of weeks ago that I would only like to win races in the manner that I won a race in Monza. If it hasn't been disgustingly unearned and just truly.
Was that why you didn't pit Silverstone then?
I wanted to make sure.
That makes sense. Got you. I see. Okay, I see where you're coming from now.
I just want to make sure it fits my character arc now that everything I get is truly undeserving. As Risky is now all over the back of Jacko. So Jacko, they're on the same tyre. Of course, Jacko's slightly older, but Risky. Well, we've seen him going skating earlier in this race as he was fighting with Jacko to start off with. It looks as though he's decided to work out that the black stuff is the stuff you're meant to be on, as he follows the car, the blue and green car up in the lead. This one gets on the brakes, and we've now got a breakaway top three, because Matt Lester now dropping 2 seconds behind his king and picks up a second 3 seconds for his trouble. As Yuri tries to break the toe, and Risky, fastest lap of the race so far, 47.3 dead is your fastest lap, coming in through lap 15 of 22. So we are making our way through this one, and not as many safety car so, not as many safety cars so far. We've not had anyone crash up Eau Rouge and Radion yet.
No, we haven't, Gareth. As Splinter overtakes Michel Goris for what is potentially a net third place, actually, isn't it? So if he can get his foot down. Splinter, who started... Where did he start? He started somewhere down at the back. He started, in fact, very much last place. Where has he come from, is the question I'm asking. But if that's all legit, then he suddenly finds himself fighting for a podium here.
Yeah, and of course Splinter, he's won a race here previously back in season 3, so he's no stranger to it. Of course, started last row, with a qualifying ban after the incident he had in Monza, where he decided he was going to go for a pit stop, and then at literally the last second thought, no, I'm not, so he pulled out. But however, instead of pulling out very slightly back off the racing line, he pulled right back onto the racing line into the path of about 4 other cars, and caused an airplane crash, which was very funny. But unfortunately, as we've got a car that's gone around at Pouon, Isaac King has gone again. Really must be under body damage for him, as Splinter now closing up to Lesty. So Matt Lester into the pit lane, so he makes his second and final stop. So that does promote Jamie up, as Jacko and Risky trade positions over second and third. Jacko is going to try and run him out wide, but he can't do so, and that was a very close move of can't, and that was definitely a can't in there with Jacko. But he now has the DRS on Risky. Does the move get retaken by the man from Bournemouth? It's down towards Lecom. Risky has expended all of his battery, and you've surely got to think that Risky is now playing rear gunner for Yuri. And although Yuri doesn't have to win a race, he is already through to playoffs, but we know he's a stat padder, and Risky's into the wall.
That's a safety car.
There's Debris.
That's a safety car.
Oh, Splinter's run straight over it. Has he got a puncture? No, I think he's got away with that.
I think that is very bad news for Jacko, because Splinter, who's been coming through the field, he fancies a last to first here, and I think he can do it. He's got the best tyres out there. He's clearly got the pace and the racecraft. I'm telling you, last to first, Splinter, keep your eye on him. He's been trying to do it for how long now? He's been trying it nearly every week. Will it finally happen?
He does have the most sort of backwards view on how to qualify here. He said he'd prefer to start at the back and miss all the chaos, but all he does is drive into the chaos. It's like it's almost like the if you cast your mind back to the '98 Belgian Grand Prix with, of course, one of the largest crashes in F1 history, and I think it's Tarso Marquez in the Minardi who just
no, it's Rosset.
Is it Ricardo Rosset?
Ricardo Rosset, tosser.
Just absolutely plows into them, even though he had a good 3 seconds to see that there was a car clearly in the middle of the circuit. So
he flies into them, then goes off the camera shot. So
it's very funny.
Keeps going like a bulldozer.
I mean, even at the time, as they're making non-mandatories here, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
all of them are. No one's in that top 4 even thinking about just taking track position, and that's quite smart. I think Yuri, that's probably a race-winning move. Because sure, you want to win on your Joker, but being on the softs for the last couple of laps, it will be a 5-lap sprint here. So, will the field bunch up? Might be a 4-lap sprint, but I would have thought this would be the last full safety car. So, putting ourselves on the softs. Lesty out there. I mean, this is possibly another strategic mistake. That dates back to not pitting under that second PSC.
I think this is a case of him being pot committed with that pit stop, as that he didn't want to lose any more track position. I mean, he wouldn't have done, because I think everyone else behind him was pitted. Yeah. So, but I think at the time he would have thought, I've literally just pitted onto the mediums. I mean, the only upside for Lesty at this point is that if this is a quick safety car, that the softs will slowly fall off. We know that they tend to fall off after about 5 laps, and we've got 5 laps left to go. So the safety car will be out for another lap, but it does mean that Lesty will have, perhaps on the last lap, the best opportunity of maybe jumping someone like a Michel Goros or a Splinter for a P4 or a P3. So there is hope, but it's a fool's hope But as Leslie sits in P5, Quinn, with that 3-second time penalty, is going to cost him massively, because unless he can break a big gap, then he's at risk of losing out to Bazza and to Jess and to Waze. Jess, who was having a good run earlier, she kind of pitted at both the right times, but she's gone onto the softs, so she's elected to go onto the new rubber for this safety car restart. That's going to give us lap 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22. So there's still plenty of racing left to go, plenty more time for at least one other big crash, and wouldn't it be excellent to see the top two absolutely spear into each other, and it would... Well, I'm sure it would make everyone's day if you're not named Jack Ricketts or Yuri Hasselager. But Jamie Bromley, P3, Michelle Gorius, P4, Matt Lester. So we've got race winners in P1, P4, P5, P6. So just Jacko and Splinter that'll be looking for a race win. They're first of the season. And safety car does stay out for another lap. So we've got at least 2 minutes to fill time whilst these guys are filtering their way through. Into the box comes Harry Collier and Newgarden.
Yeah, nothing to lose by doing these pit stops, really, is there? Because you've got a 24-second gap behind. Although saying that gap is probably closing, so Sabi might actually come out in front of them. Maybe under Delta, we'll see. It'll be close, but they lose nothing. So the guys who are still on the medians, I want to just check they've all actually done their stops. They all have done their stops. So they've all made the conscious decision here to stick with what they've got. Will that benefit them? Will it not? I mean, if we get another crash on lap 19, brings out a safety car, maybe you'll only have to worry about a lap 22 race. So maybe at that point they're banking on another accident. And of course, at this stage of the race, the desperation levels might start to increase, because you're now realising, actually, hold on a minute, this is my last chance to make any sort of difference here today. It feels like the race hasn't really got started yet, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was literally just thinking. That it's almost like we needed something just to kind of kick this into gear a little bit, because it's been so stop-start that we've not really had. We've almost had we've had a really disjointed first half of the race, and then we had that mid-race lull where you always have nothing going on in the middle of the part of the race, where everyone's kind of just trying to get into a rhythm, and now it's back into being stop-start again. So we've not had the exciting bit at the start, and we kind of need the exciting bit at the end.
Yeah. I just want to say, by the way, we did get confirmation from Thomas Nevitt about what happened. Remember his double puncture? He says he spun on the exit of Pouon, which is where we are now, and he's got a double puncture off the barriers. Now, what he means by this, I assume, is that he's actually driven wheels, on the barrier, and he's driven in a straight line along the side of the barrier, because that's a very easy way to pick punctures up on this game, and on all the F1 games. If you try, honestly, go into Grand Prix mode, particularly on F1 2021 and F1 2020, if you go on there and you literally find a wall on a straight and you drive alongside that wall, with the wheels rubbing, they'll puncture straight away. And I'm going to assume that's what's happened then to Thomas Nevitt, and that's why he's just found himself in the middle of the track. Because at that point, the tyres delaminate, you're done.
Yeah, well, at that speed, absolutely. And, it's not quite the war zone of Robot Wars with spiked walls, but if you are going at speed, as we saw with the likes of Callum Ilott, I believe it was, in the IndyCar this weekend at Long Beach, if you hit the wall at speed, effectively the adhesion of the tyre sticks. It's so hot, it sticks to the concrete, and then when it comes off, it rips the tyre off.
On.
Safety car out for another lap, because we're waiting for Kaya. So Kaya unable to close up to the back of the pack.
It's really my bedtime, come on.
Well, maybe we do need to start singing. But
I know. Well, what's Charlie listening to
he's gone for a spin on the exit, the final corner as well. As Waze
what the hell is Charlie listening to? Anyone in the chat, can you actually tell me what she's listening to?
It's almost like one of those game shows where it's like, what song is this? It's just...
Do you want to we listen? Hold on. Right, what was that?
Oh, I see. That's far too not my music for me to get.
It's far too teenage girl for me, unfortunately. Yeah. Don't take that in the wrong way.
No, yeah. I'll hold my tongue with what I was about to say there. We're on air, and I'm being professional. Are
you?
Yeah. Well, I'm giving it a go. Right, so Kaya has now joined the back of the pack, he did manage to see there were cars in front of him, so he slowed down just in time. He's now got Kingen in front. Kingen, who's really suffered with what must be some underbody damage because he's been all over the place this evening. Rico equally, he's had a bit of a shocker after that spin that he had earlier on. He's down in P12. Harry Collier's had a really a nothing race, unfortunately for Harry. He's kind of sitting there, having not really done much in this one, down in P11. I did just have a very quick flash on the screen, but I think that was just a bit of a screen tear, not that we're seeing any spots of rain coming down, because that would be interesting. But Newgarden, P10, he'll be disappointed with that. He's got a lot of work to do on the brand new soft tyres. He needs to try and clear the likes of Wace, Bazza, and perhaps even trying to get past Jess as well if he's to recover some good points, because he's looking for a promotion or a playoff push later on in this season. Of course, the Kia guys go to the playoffs a little bit later on due to the fact that their season started about a month and a half later. So they will be starting theirs in 2 weeks' time rather than this week, which the Cup guys will be doing with Jacko and Owen in the comms box for that one as they go over to... Yeah, if you're not too busy.
I know.
But,
I've got a social life now, that's the problem.
Which is worrying, terrifyingly worrying if that's the case. That he's putting social life over JACKOCAR.
I know. It only took me 3.5 years.
He's the one constant that we've got.
I know. Like, apart from the big man who puts his name on everything. If I got a name, like a little tagline, by the way, also Owen's League, then I'd say.
That's right. Here we go. 3 laps left to go at the start of this one. It's Yuri from Jacko from Splinter. The two Jokers are no longer Jokers as Yuri gets a good getaway. Jacko's going to go with him. Splinter has been jumped already by Michel Goris. So Michel Goris up to P3. So both Splinter... Oh, Michel's going to lose it on exit and he's going to just stay out of the wall. But that's a shame for Michel, who is going to lose a heap of points now with Yuri leading this one. Now, does everyone make it up? Have they got their tyres up to temperature as they go up through Radion for the first time after the safety car restart? Jacko is in right behind Yuri, but Yuri is once again snapping side to side. Kaya picks up a 3-second time penalty. Jacko is going to surely sit here and wait for Yuri to make the mistake because Yuri's going uber defensive. Jacko can just wait for the right moment and perhaps just even wait for the 22nd and final lap and a little bit of a bump and run. We've seen that the last lap means you can gloves are off a little bit. So does this sit here and wait for it being a case of a little bit more touchy-feely between the good friends of Yuri and Jacko? Michel picks up another 3 seconds and he's dropped all the way down to P10. He's trying to make a recovery, but of course he's now got a time penalty to his name. So Lesty's gone past Splinter as well. So Splinter's had a shocking restart on these brand new softs. He's now down to P4 after what we were thinking could be an attack on the race win. But Yuri now spreading that gap up to almost a second, so this is a good second sector for Yuri.
Yeah, but watch the straight line speed. Surely Jacko's just investing in all this straight line speed. That was ERS to help that, but he must be running quite low wins in comparison to Yuri, because it's all that first and third sector he makes his time up in, which will bear fruits for the DRS, because I don't think you can weave your way out of being done by DRS on this track. We'll find out. But as long as Jacko can just stay within that second, then he does have a chance to win here in Spa, and that would be quite embarrassing for the rest of us who've been watching and waiting for this not to happen. But a long way to go still there. A lot of potential incidents. Well, it's saying everyone's staying still very well behaved. Closest fight really out there at the minute is Splinter on Lesty for that podium, and you would expect him to get that back, really. Probably on the next lap again. They'll all be waiting for the final lap to just DRS their way past.
Yeah, as Lesty goes deep into Lake Coleman, that's going to hurt him through the rest of the complex of corners, and Splinter's closed right up to the back of him. Now Newgarden's just past Jess for P7, so he is making a little bit of a return to the midfield after perhaps not the best strategic race for him. Wace has had an issue. He's down to P14, so he's been jumped by Kaya. I believe he had an issue at Stavolo on the last lap, so dropped down there. Rico P12, Kingen up to P11, Harry Collar now up to P10, having been passed by Michel Goris. Michel now is 0.3 of a second behind Jess, so He's now sitting in this track or this train that's right behind Bazza. So Bazza's leading it in P6. And he's got Newgarden, Jess and Michelle Goris all trying to filter their way past as Newgarden is going to get the run on Bazza going up the hill. Now, is he brave enough to make a move into Blanchimont? He's not quite close enough. And he's staying off the battery, keeping it until the last lap. It looks as though this one is going to go to Yuri as Newgarden is right up behind Bazza now into the breaking point of the bus stop chicane. Yuri does the fastest lap of the race at 46.078. Michelle Goris sends it on Jess, gets the move up into P8. Oh, and on exit is Bazza that gets it all wrong and loses the position to both Newgarden and Michelle Goris, who's going to try and go the long way around the outside on the better tyres. And can he get it done? No, he's going to spin in almost exactly the same position. And Jess actually gets out the throttle and lets Michelle hold the position there. So
yeah, I don't get that.
She should have just forced her way through and put him in the wall. But we are on the final lap. Splinter has jumped Lesty. We've just missed that. I do apologise. But Splinter now back into P3. Lesty and Quinn as Wace goes and retires in the pit lane on the last lap of the race. Explain. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's logic there somewhere. But
yeah, he's just explained it to me. He had all his settings reset. Including the livery, I noticed. I think I might have been on board for that, but I was too busy looking at my phone, at the stats, obviously, to check what happened there. I might actually look at that back, because it looked like he DC'd and the game just plopped him back in with a reset setup. So that's a real shame for him there.
So, yeah, well, shame for him. He is one of 5 retirements tonight, but just a few more corners left to go from the man.
Does he let him through?
From Belgium. And
I suppose.
I don't think he will.
There's no reason.
No, there isn't. And I mean, Jacko, I'm sure would rather. Would he rather hedge his bets in the chase or in the playoffs than? I don't know.
Well, looks like we're about to find out that Yuri hasn't got a heart and he's going to win the race. So there we go. Yuri then wins in Spa.
I love how disappointed you sounded. He's going to win the race.
Well, he's going to win the race. Well, it's fine. It's fine. Jacko's in second place. Splinter from the back of the grid, because he does come home in third place. Jacko and Yuri, but at the end, P3 from last. Not too bad. Lesty. And he ends up finishing 4th, not too bad. Quinn 5th, Baz is 6th, Michelle Goris, Jess, Wasabi, Harry Collier, who spun the lap before that, and Kaya, who spun at the final corner. He's got his... But yeah, he's finished at least. I don't think that's happened for a while.
Yeah, he's leaving 11s up to the line, isn't he? Newgarden, who lost out on the position ahead by 1/100th of a second. So Jamie Bromley does rightly get driver of the day, having started on the back row of the grid, plumb last, and makes his way up to P3. But it is Yuri, your race winner. He takes his second win of the season, the first multiple race winner here this season, which is a real shame. I would have liked to go through the regular season with multiple different race winners. So shame on you, Yuri Hasselager. Shame, shame, shame. But Jacko will pick up a podium. I'm sure he'll be relatively happy with that. He would have wanted the win, but it is a handful of points to add to his tally that will send him looking a little bit more rosy coming into the last race of the regular season next week at Imola. So it's almost a double week at Imola. So we've got it in the Cup Series on Thursday, and we've also got it here for the regular season finale next Tuesday night. So it is Yuri with the fastest lap on his Joker, but the Joker doesn't count. In 48 minutes and 14 seconds. He takes the race win ahead of Jack Ricketts, Jamie Bromley in P3, Matt Lester in P4, Danny Quinn P5, Barry Baldwin with a good result in P6, Michelle Goris P7, Jess Ball P8, Rico Beckenkamp P9 with Isaac Edemer P10, Matt Rosemond in P11 with Harry Collier P12, Kai Langston P13, and then we've got Wace Cooper retired. So did Sullivan Lewis, Robin Border, Marcus Schneider and Thomas Nevitt with that double puncture very early on in this one. A race that didn't quite live up to what we were hoping for, Owen.
Not really, no. It didn't really ever get started, did it? It was so stop-start, and I don't think the strategy even really got a chance to breathe out there. Everyone had their chances on VSCs, and people were able to finish strategies and start them under VSC. Yeah, that could have done with being 100%er, really. Give them a chance to sort of flesh out and have a proper go at it. But that's racing sometimes.
Imagine, let's offer that to Keir. Do you want to do a 100% race around Belgium next time?
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, I think. Well, I might need some of what you're drinking if that's the case. If we're going to get through
exactly. Yeah. Happy juice.
No wonder you're making absurd suggestions. But right, let's go. Drivers of the day before Mr. Okeke jumps into my DMs and asks me, who are you going for?
Lesty, because he proved me wrong on all my strategy claims, and him staying out at the end was the right thing to do, and it nearly got on the podium. And I mean, I'm the one who spotted Splinter, so I get the credit for him, as does he for driving it. But Splinter and Lesty for me.
And I would be remiss not to say your leading pair as well. So we'll go for Yuri and we'll go for Jacko as well. So I think that's fair. The top four.
Boring, aren't we?
I know, we're so dull. But you can go vote for that, which will be coming out very, very shortly on Twitter. Go to @JACKOCAR2, that's number 2 on Twitter, where you can vote. It is very much a popularity contest, so we'll see who's got the most amount of friends and followers that will be able to go and vote in that one. It means absolutely nothing apart from a little bit of pride to these guys to make it think that they have earned something on this video game that we all play online with each other from around the world. But Yui Haselager takes the second win of the season, his first since the second race of the season back in Suzuka. So he's racking up the iconic circuit race wins. Here is Yuri with Japan and now Belgium. We head to San Marino next week here in Kia, but we also head over there for the start of the playoffs on Thursday, Owen.
For the Cup Series indeed, yes, and if there's any luck I will be there. I should be there, I don't see any reason why I won't be. And I'm looking forward to, Imola throws up a good result. I mean, if you watch last season's Cup Series race there, I actually broke my mic nearly by how much I was shouting at the ending. And that'll be a good chance to get you to watch that. It was a throwback week last season. Season 6, it was round 8. And yeah, honestly, give that a watch before this Thursday, because it'll give you a wee taster of what to expect.
Yes, and you can do that by going, of course, clicking down below, click to subscribe, and of course like the video if you've got all the way through this and you've enjoyed it. And we've tried to bring you some somewhat entertainment. Hopefully you've enjoyed our
I mean, we've really tried
our attempt all the way through this one. But what you can do is, because I've got no life outside of JACKOCAR, I put all of the races, both Kia and Cup, into their own separate playlists, so you can go back and watch every single season. And make sure you tune into specifically last season's race in Monza in the Cup Series, and you can even go back and watch Silverstone. In fact, no, actually, what you can do is you go back and watch Silverstone Season 3 in Kia. That was an excellent race. I mean, I also won that one, but it was actually a very good race. But thank you very much for joining. Thanks, Owen, for giving me your so precious time in claiming that it's sunny and you want to be outside having a garden party on the 18th of April.
Yep. Welcome to uni life. Thank you for having me again. You might see me again. Who knows?
Well, and me the case. I'm locked here, so they won't let me go. Someone help, please. Make sure you come and join in on Thursday in the comments, because the guys would love to hear from you, of course. If you are, shout along on Twitter and equally over on YouTube. But thank you very much for joining us. My name's Gareth Hall. You've been joined by Owen White. This has been JACKOCAR, the Kia series. We'll be back on Thursday. Good night.